Ugh.
Hi guys!
Hey.
We just got back from 50 Shades Freed.
We are free of this whole trilogy.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I'm not.
Yeah, we did it.
No more. They can't possibly do a movie version of Grey, which is the fourth book.
Oh, maybe, because they found enough room for 3 movies out of this bullshit.
But I guess technically speaking, like one of the previews we got was like a sort of sequel to 50 Shades.
Starring Don Johnson, so that's weird. Okay, so you've read the book
I sure
on this,
have.
and you just recently read the book, so now I can actually go through and read those tweets when you were live tweeting it, because I saw a couple of them and was like, as much as I want to continue reading this, and I feel stupid for even thinking this, but
you don't
like,
want to ruin the surprise.
I guess I don't want to ruin the surprises in this movie. And there are a couple of, sure, let's say surprises in this movie.
Did you expect it to be so action-packed?
I'll get to that, believe me. But like every, I don't know, surprise in this movie could easily be followed with, yeah, no fucking shit. What was this like compared to the book?
This was so tame compared to the book, and I've said this in the other 2 movies as well, but they toned Christian Grey way down for the movies.
That is saying something.
Because, like, well, I'll give you an example. So, like, in the first 5 minutes, they do, like, the sort of, like, a montage of, like, them getting married, and them going on their honeymoon, and them going to, like, the south of France, and we end on, like, a beach, and she's in a bikini, and it's, like, a topless beach, so she's like, I'm gonna take off my top. He's like, you better not. And then she, like, he goes off and swims in the water, so she takes off her top, falls asleep, and in her sleep she rolls over, and her boobs are out. And in the movie, he comes back, he's like, your boobs are out, you put those away, and she's like, oh, shucks, and then they go back and they have sex. In the book, he screams at her for a solid 5 minutes.
Okay.
Takes her back to the boat, handcuffs her to a bed, and hickeys the bejesus out of her chest so she can't wear a swimming suit for the rest of the trip.
So what you're saying is the book was better. Man, that opening wedding scene, I've rarely seen such a... Man... To see the utter contempt in these 2 people's eyes.
They are not fucking trying in this one.
They are
saw
so
the finish line as
not.
much as we did.
That one episode they did of Who Wants to Marry a Multi-Millionaire from the early 2000s was a way more convincing wedding than what you see in this. These 2 actors are not giving a flying fuck in this.
Jamie Dornan's just making a whole lot of, like, that face.
Yeah, to even call this chemistry between them is an insult to science, for one. There is no chemistry. It's ridiculous. It's like you're sitting there watching Old Fashioned again. The chemistry is so nothing in this film. Whether it's sexual chemistry, whether it is just dialogue between these 2 actors. Like, forget the fact that for just a minute that these 2 actors clearly don't like each other. That happens a lot behind the scenes, and maybe something will still come out of it on camera. Maybe maybe they're good enough to where like there's at least some kind of spark. Maybe it's good direction, or maybe it's something. There's none of that here. All you feel is just hatred for this material, which I get that, but also, man, how they didn't just kill each other by the end of this film is ridiculous.
Dakota Johnson had a couple moments, and she did in the other 2 movies, where she had like a real funny sort of like throwaway line that made me laugh, and you could tell like it kind of like brought some life into her face.
Yeah.
But again, like, they were never lines that were from the book.
Or in a wildly different context.
Yeah.
There's the difference between Dakota Johnson and Jamie Dornan is that Dakota Johnson can still remain somewhat charming while not giving a shit. Like, she sort of, more so in the other 2, but a little bit in this one too, she seems to really be playing with the fact that she really doesn't want to be doing this. Jamie Dornan, on the other hand, is so bad and so uninteresting. He is like...
There's a scene at the end where he's supposed to be crying, and he's not even, like, attempting a crying face. They just, like, flicked some water into his eyelashes for him to blink down.
It's sad, because most people are going to know him for this movie. And he's just not as good Dakota Johnson is not giving a fuck about this material, because I've seen him in plenty of other things where he's remarkably good. You would not know that from this film. In this movie,
I've seen him in something else, but I get him confused with the guy who played Fennec in the Hunger Games, Wheelchair Suicide.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
He is just James Bond and Bruce Wayne and take away everything remotely interesting about any of those guys, and that is this character, and that is this performance.
But add an immaculately coiffed top bush.
Yeah, there was.
They were flaunting the shit out of that top bush. They're like, "We're almost gonna show you his penis."
It's okay. She licks ice cream.
She licks ice cream off of his top bush. I'm like, is this like a new sex move? I haven't read Cosmo in a while.
Like watching the hedonism bot version of the Ice Cube scene from 9.5 Weeks. That was so stupid. It was laughable. I like how the audience changed from all three movies too. Like, let's say that this is the same audience from the first screening we had. There's just not quite as many. And they've also kind of sobered up a little bit. So there was a lot of laughter in this, in scenes that are supposed to be sexy, which is very hard to be sexy when you're trying to do this, like, harmonizing, sexy version of James Brown's I Feel Good in one of the S&M sequences. It's, I will say this about this film. It's the only one of the three movies that stuff happens in.
Again, that's true. And that's why I was glad you didn't read my tweets, because a whole lot of stuff just suddenly happens in this movie.
You might as well wait till the third book, sure, for there to be it's so stupid. This is a trilogy. This movie ends with showing us a clip show of the other two movies, just to remind me, you're right, this is one of the worst trilogies I've ever fucking seen.
You're right, they have only known each other for 3 months.
I know, right? Yet they do look like a couple years older. So... man, the other two movies, nothing happens in them. Like,
a lot of boinking and a lot of fighting.
You want to like almost trick yourself into thinking that it's gonna be that the other two movies are gonna be like this so bad it's good territory that you could watch it and laugh at it. And I could see why someone would think that. I could even see why someone might think that a couple of years after seeing the first two movies. But no, those movies are just nothing fucking happens in them. In this, as bad as this movie is, it is the only one that kind of makes that crossover into, like, I could see a group of people getting drunk and watching this because such stupid shit happens in it. From the opening 5 minutes, when the villain, Jack Hyde, the evil Christian Grey, get it? Jack Hyde. So when Jack Hyde is shown on Christian Grey's security footage, Jack Hyde, by the way, who is like just this former book publisher, who now has this...
He went bonkers insane and attacked Anna, and so then he got fired, and now he's like double insane.
Not only is he double insane, he's also 007, because he has amazing hacking technology and can break into like Christian Grey's building.
Yeah, and he also makes a bomb out of like a flask and some wires.
This is the first 5 minutes of the movie, and I was like, okay, all right, you're setting me up for what kind of movie this is going to be. And when 5 minutes later, there's a car chase with the most unconvincing fucking green screen since the last time I used a green screen on one of my videos.
I'm bad at telling that sort of thing, but it wasn't great in terms of car chases, just because it was through like rush hour traffic.
Yeah.
So it was just a lot of like zooming down a bendy country road, getting onto an entrance ramp, and then like getting mad at a guy for not getting out of her way.
And every close-up of the car is just like all these tinted black windows, so that way you can't tell that it's not her driving. Just like not even attempting, really, just outside the car, like just black windows and everything. And look, I know that when you see a car chase in a movie, it's usually not the actor performing these stunts.
What?
But you could try to make it not so fucking obvious.
Again,
We'll watch that scene again. You'll be able to.
Apparently, we're having like a drunken 50 Shades Freed watching party.
Oh, there's plenty of movies to get to before that. The Snowman, for instance.
Yes. So
Which is
the
out
only thing
now
the
on
Snowman
Blu-ray.
was missing was a car chase. And a sex scene.
This all could have been condensed into one movie.
Yeah.
All three of these films. It's like opposite The Hobbit. The Hobbit trilogy. It could all just be... three books could be condensed into one fucking movie.
Well, because... take out most of the sex scenes, and that would be like the one step you'd have to take to condense all these movies down to like 1 3-hour movie.
Oh.
But that's the reason they made these movies.
Yeah.
There's one thing I will give them is they realized that that's what's going on. Because there's like 20 sex scenes in this movie.
There is.
And they're all like right up in the front bush, and they're like explaining about vibrators to the ladies in the audience, and they're like showing his array of butt plugs, and she's like, no, and he's like, get you a butt plug, and she's like, all right.
It's making up for the fact, and I know we mentioned this in the review for the last one too, but it's trying to make up for the fact, and it's the only reasons these movies have made money, is the fact that this kind of movie just doesn't come out anymore.
Yeah, it really doesn't.
Mainstream, like back 25, 30 years ago, there were movies like this like every other fucking week, and you could take the lower end of those movies and have a way better time at them that you could in even this one, which was the most entertaining out of the three. Recently, Allison and I did an episode on Color of Night with Bruce Willis, which is kind of considered to be one of the lesser erotic thrillers of the 90s, but it's way more entertaining and way more batshit insanity things happen in it than in any of these fucking movies. Like, this one...
They did
you
have
could
like a
call
guard
it
on the door. I haven't seen them do that in a while.
Do what?
I said they did have like a guard on the door, and I haven't seen them do that in a while. I guess to keep the children from like sneaking about.
Oh, yeah. That's right, they did, yeah.
I didn't mean to derail you. I was agreeing with your point.
It took me a second, because when you said they had a guard at the door, for a split second, I was like, I thought you were talking about one of Anastasia's bodyguards in the movie.
No!
I'm like, well, I guess if you're looking for a movie in which people have bodyguards, then this is...
This movie did feature guards at various doors, so that was a point in its favor.
I guess if that's what you're looking for out of one of these movies, it's the best of its kind since The Bodyguard.
And that movie only had one bodyguard. This had like 3.
This is a stalker thriller, I guess. Whatever you would try to, whatever kind of
erotic stalker thriller.
whatever kind of genre or subgenre you would try to attach to this movie should be immediately followed by ... I guess.
Like sorta.
Jack Hyde is the best. Man, these characters in this movie are so goddamn fucking stupid. Right after the wedding, when they go to Christian Grey's private jet, and Anastasia's like, "You own this?" Like, dude. No shit. Like, what'd you think you were? Whatever. Like, you own a limo?
He's like, no, baby, we own it. In the book, the jet had a bed in the back, and that's where they bang.
They're borrowing Hugh Hefner's jet. He doesn't need it anymore. So Jack Hyde frequently shows up in this, and is the best part of this movie, by the way.
Yeah, he is quietly terrifying, and he's giving his all, God bless him. Because he was just like calling and be like, "Hi, Anna."
Anastasia. Like you see in the trailer, by the way, yes, this is one of those movies where the final shot before the ending credits is in the trailer. They just don't give a fuck at this point.
The second
Why not?
to final shot, because as I mentioned outside, the final shot was, and then they had babies, the end.
Yeah, the final shot was the ending of Mockingjay. So
only with less PTSD for some reason.
Jack Hyde is like jealous of Christian Grey to the point to where he's like rigging helicopters to explode, so they explain that from the second movie, and also hacking into his building and setting fires. And then Jack Hyde is saying like, it should have been me, I should have been, because they both turned out they come from the same foster unit. And so Jack Hyde's like, it should be me, I should be the one who was Christian Grey. And I'm sitting there like, yeah, you know what? I agree with you. You're a better actor in this movie. I kind of agree that it should be you playing Christian Grey.
I can see that. He was blonde, though. That was the problem.
I've seen Jamie Dornan play, like, a serial killer and stuff, and he was really good at that. So switch roles, he could have been Jack Hyde. And he's like, that could. And Christian Grey is like, wow, we came from the same foster home, so like that could have been me as Jack Hyde if I wasn't raised with the family I was raised with. I'm like, yeah, I know. I've seen your performance in the television series The Fall. If you didn't have this much money, you'd be going around strangling women all the goddamn time.
Yes, so, money and money alone is what makes a abused man socializable, I guess was the point of this movie. God damn it. No, because, like, this movie was offensively inoffensive.
It was offensive because it wasn't offensive.
I've been trying to figure out why I'm so mad, even though it's like
because it sucked.
Well, it sucked, yeah. But like all the scenes were in the book, he's just like brutal and sadistic and like kind of nauseatingly abusive. In this movie, he's just like, oh Anna, why you gotta be like that? Now I gotta go spank you. Come on.
He's just...
And it's just like, they fucking read the book.
Yeah.
And they specifically took those parts out to make this shit palatable.
Yeah.
And for some reason, that just gets on my fucking nerves.
You want to see, like, you know what, you went this far in
know
the
what?
book, you might as
fuckers
well.
bought the book. You read the book and you liked the book.
Yeah.
Put that shit in the movie if you want it.
Show it to you right in front of your face, yeah.
Don't try to trick people.
He's just so unappealing in every way, shape, or form in this film, though. Even with leaving all of that stuff out of the book. Whether he's barging into her office, barking shit at her, and then this movie has the balls to, at the end, have her say to him, like, you're such a good man. Like, regardless of what you take out of the book, this guy would be the fucking Boston Strangler if it weren't for the fact that he had millions and millions of fucking dollars.
Well, when she tells him, spoiler alert, she's pregnant because she forgot to take her depot shot for like 2 months. She tells him she's pregnant, and they did again toned that part down for the movie.
I'm sure,
because in the book he's like snarling like he's so fucking stupid,
uh-huh.
and in the movie he's like, no, we're too young to be pregnant. I'm gonna go get drunk.
You're both 30. That part though was the look that he had in his eyes when she said it. That was the only part I thought he did a good job in this movie.
That was the only part he was book Christian.
Yeah, right.
First the flash of murderous rage that crossed his features.
That would have helped his performance. That really would have helped his performance if they just got to turn into Ted Bundy in the movie.
And Anna was never heard or seen again.
If you were to take certain pieces of like conversations out of this movie that don't involve sex or anything that would make this an R-rated movie, it would feel like you were watching a Pure Flix movie. The chemistry is so bad between every actor in this, and the lines are so horribly delivered. Take, again, just like a PG-rated conversation from this film, it would look exactly and feel exactly, have the same kind of acting as like a similar scene from like War Room. And it doesn't help that it's not that well made of a movie either. Like, sometimes it's competently shot because it does have a director behind it who's done things before that are a little bit better than this. But then you have like green screen car chase in the fucking film and other shit like that. And poor Kim Basinger, who I guess is just going to be on the deleted scenes in the DVD.
That's right, she did play Mrs. Robinson.
Yeah.
He goes and talks to her. Like, they explain it in the book. He runs into her while he's out drinking, and he finally realizes through a conversation, because she makes a pass at him, and he finally realizes that her making a pass at him as a child was wrong of her. He's like, oh god, I'm going to have a child now, and I don't want random ladies making passes at them while they're still children. As a father, I'm concerned.
But at least having Kim Basinger there, she was in 9.5 weeks. She could have said, like, look, don't do the ice cream scene. Here's these ice cubes. That was
the front push is getting all sticky.
This is one of the most laughable scenes I've seen since the fucking animal crackers scene in Armageddon.
I will say, again, the ice cream scene is one of the few flashes of moments where it seemed like Dakota Johnson was having fun.
Well, she got to eat ice cream.
She's like, no, that's my ice cream. Boop. And it just drags a spoon down his chest like, oh no, I spilled. I slipped my spoon. I'm so sorry.
Like, yeah, because other than that, watching these two act together on screen as a newlywed married couple is like watching a married couple put on a face in front of their children because they haven't told them they're getting divorced yet. That is the level of fucking love and chemistry in this film. Yeah. It's so bad. It's so bad. But again, at least there is stuff happening in this movie. There is a kidnapping later on in the film that's like you're just watching the shittiest Lifetime version of All the Money in the World. And it's solved.
She calls Christian Grey and asks for the money, and he's like, nope.
It's solved within minutes, too.
Because everyone's a fucking moron, except for Anna, who's a slightly less of a moron in that moment.
Even she kind of is, because earlier on, she's shocked at the fact that he made bail, even though she was in the courthouse when he made bail and watched it happen.
I feel like there's a lot of problems that could have been solved in the book by people actually fucking talking to each other about the information they just received.
Yeah.
And they did, in fact, rectify a few of those in the movie. Like the scene where they're watching the security footage, and she's like, oh, that's Jack Hyde. That takes place like halfway through the book, because that's when Christian finally occurs to him to tell her that they've got security footage of the guy that blew up the server room.
Yeah.
So in that same vein, there are moments in this movie where it's like, just fucking talk to each other, and this movie will be like a half an hour shorter. Because I mean, like, she like, yeah, okay, he said don't tell anyone or I'm gonna kill your sister, but then she basically lets Christian know there's a problem and then puts her phone in there so that they can track him. And he sends, like, a squadron of cop cars screaming down the street after them, like, the least subtle. It doesn't. Faulting this movie for not making a lot of sense feels petty, but there we are.
All of what we're saying about this movie, the dumb shit about it and everything, because like, it is trash, and people who go to it and people who enjoy it to a degree know that this is it's trash. It's you know, it's a lark, whatever. That's fine. Like, hell, I grew up watching exploitation movies. Like, I get it. Like, all of this would be fine, and it would be forgiven to an extent. Like, if a couple of things. One, if the first two movies were in any way, shape, or form entertaining, which they're not. If stuff happened in them, which they don't. Or, most importantly, if there was some kind of chemistry with the actors, sexually, in dialogue, or anything. There's not. These are just three dead zone of motion pictures.
Yeah. For me, like, a main starting point is just how fucking despicable the books are. It makes it makes it hard to stomach, even, you know, with those parts taken out, it's still based on some fucking despicable subject matter. Like you said, I'll forgive a movie of a lot of stuff if I believe the two main like romantic leads like each other as people, and these people, like Jamie Dornan and Dakota Johnson, obviously hate each other.
Yeah. But this is an experience they'll never forget, though.
I mean, they're laughing all the way to the bank. You know, I can hang out with someone I hate for several $1 million.
Why not?
Even naked.
Yeah. Like, I mean, like, if you do end up seeing this in the theater, which don't.
Why?
But if you do, just hope that it's a crowd full of people like this. Because it was a crowd full of people in there, and it was one of those, like, type movies.
Yeah, when the butt plug opened, it was like, woo!
And, when they're stupid, like, when that one girl, like, sees this handsome writer standing there and goes like, ooh, well, you better make him an appointment because he could fill my opening. A girl behind me was like, oh. Oh,
I see what she did there.
I see what she did there.
Yeah, that was like, this movie had a whole big thing about, like, taking random meandering subplots about the romantic lives of the ancillary characters. So, like, they added a thing with her, Oh, with her bodyguard and her assistant Hannah, and that's the thing that you were saying, where she's like, "I've got an opening for him."
That's
Wink.
it. Yeah.
And then later she brought him coffee, and he's all like, "Checking the butt, licking the butt."
Nothing
And
ever.
that's like literally all we see. Those two
Yeah,
characters.
nothing comes of it like beyond that or anything. It's just like, okay, well, let's hope the movie that's happening between them off screen is way better than the one we're stuck
I
with.
prefer to watch those ones. Again, those two people seemed to like each other.
Yeah.
But like for like the Christian Grey's brother and her roommate from the first one, Kate, they got engaged, and that was probably the most painful scene in the movie in its own way, because that brother's a terrible actor, and he was just like, again, there was no chemistry between those two characters, so everyone in the movie just all of a sudden stopped what they were doing and turned to watch this random character propose to another random character.
Yeah. I was thankful whenever the movie would stop to explain to me who these people were, though, because I've seen the other two movies, but anytime there was any of the friends, or except for like the one guy who had the art gallery in the second one, like I remembered
the photographer guy.
Yeah, like I remembered him because that was a stupid ass scene from the second one, so I remembered that. But other than that, God, whenever it was like the roommate or the brother or something, I was like, I know you were in the others, but remind me again. It wasn't until that one girl was kidnapped.
Rita Ora as the sister Mia.
I forgot she was his sister, so I was actually way thankful that he's like, my sister's been kidnapped. I'm like, okay. I guess that's who that is. I'll take your word for it, movie.
I lost my train of thought earlier when I was talking about communication, but yeah, she found out that Jack Hyde made bail. I feel like the first conversation she should have had was with the entire family and been like, Jack Hyde made bail. Perhaps you shouldn't just wander off to the gym, Mia.
Well, then...
But fucking whatever.
Then it would be like the other two movies and would be stuck with something that never happens.
Yeah, like at the beginning of the movie, it shows their wedding, and, you know, the main attraction is how little these two people like each other. Mm-hmm. But there's also like this slow pan across all the attendants, like, oh yeah, remember all these folks from the first two movies? It's like...
Suddenly there's Anna Kendrick there as Bella's friend from Twilight. Oh. Cinematic universe.
They pan out and it's a snow globe. Even like when Anna goes back to her office and she's like, oh, and then does a slow pan around the office, like we were also supposed to be surprised and delighted, and it's like, I don't fucking remember what her office looked like, movie.
The only reason I remembered what her office looked like was because it was one of the Jack Hyde scenes from the second movie, and I enjoyed all of his scenes. It's one of those movies when it shows him like in like the prison jumpsuit and like making bail, his hair is still perfect. It's like perfectly combed and like with the curl around it and everything. Like, it's one of those movies.
They gave him like some red eyeliner to make him look kind of sad, but he just looked like a member of fucking My Bloody Valentine or whatever.
Yeah. If you just look at his hair, he looks fantastic. Mm-hmm. Look, the movie sucks. Of course it sucks. Like, no one's watching this. Like, okay, tell me if it's any good. But I'll say, like I said earlier, like I guess unless there's something about this movie I'm forgetting, a final thought about this film would just be that this is the only one where you could kind of have a bad movie party with it, other than the other two. The other two, you'd think you could, but really, you're just gonna be pissed and they're just gonna put you to sleep. This one, the acting is so bad. This is one of the worst acted mainstream movies I've seen in so goddamn long. But again, at least there's enough dumb shit happening in it to where if you rent it or pop it up on Netflix and have a bad movie party, you could probably get some enjoyment out of this one. And this is like the only one of the three that you could do that with. Any other final thoughts about this? I can't remember if we're forgetting anything.
I get annoyed in movies like this, and it's just a small thing, but like whenever a lady's pregnant in like a movie or a TV show, she's just like, bleh, oh no, I'm pregnant, and that's like fucking all that happens to her. That's not what the first trimester is like.
Ever since that happened at the beginning of Look Who's Talking, it's just been like that for every movie since then.
I don't expect them to put like 10 scenes of them just barfing their guts out for 2 hours at 1 o'clock in the morning, but you know, it'd be nice.
Well, I think my favorite line in this movie might have been, the red room is not used for revenge.
That wasn't love, that was revenge. Very expensive vibrator-based revenge. Which, okay, that was the other thing. I don't remember if I brought these up in the other two reviews, but presumably he replaced all those sex toys, right? Because like,
he's on a sex toy
all those
budget.
drawers have like very specific sex toy shaped dents in like the red velvet.
Yeah.
So like as a sexual partner, I'd be concerned that I was getting like leftovers. Like, grab out that butt plug. It's a 78. It's a very good vintage. It's like, how many butts has this been in?
That is a vintage butt plug. You know, Linda Lovelace once used this. Movie? Jesus.
That's my final thought.
Hey, you know,
I boiled those fucking butt plugs.
I've been putting together another snob DVD, this time made up of like S&M Nazi exploitation movies, so really the fact I had to see this today kind of goes along with the shit I've been watching this week.
That's a point in its favor. There weren't any Nazis in it. I mean, probably.
Or was there? You gotta read the Grey Book. Or whatever the fuck that's called.
You wanna do previews?
Yeah, totally.
Midnight Sun.
Oh, the one that's everything, only if the bubble was the sun.
Yeah. And she's presumably actually sick in this one. Because it seemed like...
Unless Rob Riggle's tricking her in this.
He seemed like... I appreciated that the parental units in this movie didn't seem like evil caricatures. Because usually they seem to be evil caricatures in movies like this. And especially like Everything, where like the mom turned to be like a maladjusted monster.
Yeah.
It was just like Rob Riggle being like, I'm not really comfortable with you dating this kid when he doesn't know that you're allergic to the sun. And she's like, I'll tell him eventually.
It's sort of like, because it's Bella Thorne, and the movie being the kind of movie as it is, it's like Everything, where it's like, well, regardless, you look fantastic.
Yeah, her skin looks pretty nice considering it's never seen the sun.
Really, I think it felt like the stakes were much higher in Everything, because really in this, you just got to find yourself a good night person.
Yeah, if Buffy the Vampire's any indication, when the sun comes out, all you gotta do is like just throw a blanket over your head, and maybe it's like smolder a little bit, but past that you'll be fine.
Go stay in one of those areas where, like, around Alaska or wherever, where it it's part
Iceland maybe, or Greenland.
I can't remember. Where did Insomnia take place?
We're just like,
that's
3
the sun.
months of no sun.
Don't go.
Or God,
you'll have to leave when it's the sun 24/7.
Just get like an umbrella. I Feel Pretty, which is this audience, I swear to God.
The Amy Schumer movie.
Yeah, like crickets in the field is like, oh, she's so funny. Oh, she's so funny. Oh, I love her show. And Amy Schumer, she gets hit on the head, it makes her think that she's gorgeous.
I hope this takes place in the Shallow Hal universe. I think it might.
It's like backwards Shallow
Yeah,
Hal.
I think it might. She hits herself on the head, and suddenly she sees herself as basically like a model. And
since she's got all this confidence now, she's getting the things that she assumed that a model would get in these situations. And it's an interesting premise. It's also got a lot of those jokes that kind of get on my nerves, where it's like, oh, she's fat and in a bikini and dancing around.
It looks like a premise that could be funny as a 5-minute sketch. I don't know about it as a movie. Well, look, it's Amy Schumer, so the internet's already going to tell us it's the worst movie ever. I don't know.
I feel like the romantic lead, I want to say it was Rory Scovel, who I don't really see as a romantic lead, but we'll see.
Who's that?
He's a comedian.
Oh,
and I could be wrong. He's like one of those blonde, beardy comedians, and they all tend to look alike.
Yeah, no, I don't.
I'll show you a picture.
I didn't really recognize him in the trailer. Yeah, that movie. It looked better than Snatched. I'll give it that.
That guy?
Maybe. I'm not sure. It was the first time I've ever gotten that trailer.
Oh, yeah, that was him.
Oh, okay. Sweet.
But, yeah. I liked Trainwrecked.
I liked Trainwreck a lot. Snatched.
Yeah, Snatched was meh.
Yeah.
Not Black Chicks. Book Club.
Oh, the one that's about the women reading 50 Shades of Grey?
Yeah, and being like, their lives are changed for the better for having experienced 50 Shades of Grey. And I thought for like a split second it was a Golden Girls remake.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like, was it Glenn Close?
It's Diane Keaton, Jane Fonda, Candice Bergen.
Candice Bergen. That's what
Yeah.
I'm thinking of. She seemed to be filling the sort of Dorothy role of the four girls.
Yeah, it's the
Jane
Golden Girls.
Fonda's the Blanche.
It's Golden Girls if they all just had shitty taste in books. I don't know.
And in men.
Don Johnson's still handsome.
I wonder if that's the reason they showed us his previews, because Don Johnson's in it.
Oh, and they're reading 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, but Don Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, Don Johnson being in it makes me want to see the movie.
We will have to watch it. It's just...
I love that all of these are movies you and I are definitely going to be at.
I feel like they had us pegged with this preview, right?
Except for a couple on there.
Yeah, well, Slender Man is the next one. And the fuck I'm going to see Slender Man.
The audience is like, ooh, that Slender Man, he fine. I don't know why would they threw the trailer for Slender Man on here.
Because this movie was a horror.
Oh, that's true. It is a horror film. I guess Slender Man is more husband material than Christian Grey.
So Red Sparrow, which we've talked about before.
Oh yeah, it was when we got the trailer for Red Sparrow in this where I was like, I don't think they're gonna give us the trailer for Overboard if they've already hit Slender Man and Red Sparrow.
Yeah, they ran through 3 romantic comedies and then they ran out and they're just like, Slender Man?
There's no more. We can't put Overboard on there. It's in front of Winchester for whatever reason. It was in front of... Did they switch the fucking trailers for Slender Man and Overboard?
Maybe. Life of the Party.
Fuck one was that?
That was the Melissa McCarthy one where she's going back to college.
Oh, the one that I thought... Until the title, I thought it was... They were going to say it was like a remake of Back to School.
That was my thought, like
Yeah.
a gender swap Back to School, but it looked like it didn't seem to have... Because I feel like in Back to School, he just kind of went back to school because he felt like it.
In Back to School, he was a billionaire, and if I remember... I really do like that movie a lot, but it's been a while. He goes back to school... because I think he did want to spend more time with his son, or something like that, or maybe it had to do with his business. I can't remember, but I
don't think I remember that movie that had Kurt Vonnegut in it, because he hired him to write the thing.
And Sally Kellerman is like, whoever ghost wrote this for you doesn't know a thing about Kurt Vonnegut. That's a great movie. Sam Kinison is the history professor. This one, until the title, I was like, oh, okay, we're just doing Back to School again, whatever. The movie itself, I don't know. It kind of looked all right, but
the
it looked
audience is excited for this one.
Sure. Well, they were drunk.
Ma'am, go home. You're drunk.
You're drunk. You shouldn't be in the screening for 50 Shades Freed.
Mamma Mia! Exclamation point.
Now
Here
that
we
is
go
for this
again.
audience.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to watch the first one.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, I should watch the first one.
I tried watching the first one because I like a musical and I like ABBA and I like Colin Firth, so
All
it seemed
three-
like a slam fucking dug.
All 3 of those things I love, which
But
is
I couldn't
why
make it 5 minutes to that first movie.
I've.
If you want to try watching it again, I'll watch it with you.
I'll watch it with you. Because the play is good, but I just heard and even the little bits I saw of the movie, I was like, you are taking 3 things I love: ABBA, musicals, Colin Firth, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to see all 3 of those things butchered on this film.
Worried about whether you could, never worried about whether you should.
It is the second one's gonna have the same music in it from the first one? Like, when does that happen in a musical?
It's gonna have like 0 Colin Firth in it because it's
Yeah.
all flashbacks. It's like, why even bother?
Yeah. At least give
Plus, Cher shows up as like the grandmother. I don't even know how those timelines are supposed to head up.
I don't know. I guess I'll have to listen to Fernando again.
It explains
that'll
it for
explain
Fernando.
everything.
There was something in the air that night.
The
The stars were bright.
Oh, I should.
Fernando.
Crap! Now we're gonna get a copyright strike.
No, it was less than 6 seconds long.
Any other trailers after that?
Yes, because we also had either cock blocker or bot blocker with a picture of a rooster.
So it's called Rooster Blockers, or it should be called Cock Blockers.
Maybe they weren't allowed to call it cock blockers, but they wanted to call it cock blockers, so this was like the...
They're getting around calling it Cock Blockers.
It looks really funny.
Yeah, it honestly doesn't look that bad. It's Leslie Mann, John Cena, and Ike Barinholtz trying to stop their daughters from losing their virginity on prom night.
Which is kind of a gross premise. Don't get me
Sure,
wrong.
but it looks like it looks like it has potential to end up like a decent like R-rated slapstick comedy, like, but the title is what confuses. I've gotten that trailer numerous times before. This is the first time I've gotten the Red Band trailer for it, and so with it being the red
trailer was Red Band.
They said fuck a few times. When I saw that it was the Red Band trailer, I was like, okay, maybe I'll finally know what this movie is called now. But no, just picture of rooster blockers. I don't.
It must just be called blockers, and then they're putting the picture of the rooster in because because the
So
Leslie
you
man
know,
is the line.
wink.
Let's cock block these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
So that's what they wanted to call it.
They
But
really.
yeah, there's some parts in the trailer that really made me laugh.
Yeah, no,
Like in
this.
spite of myself. I'm sorry, I keep interrupting.
No, it's fine. Yeah, I laughed more in this trailer than I did at any of the other trailers for this movie.
Because usually, like, the gross out stuff, like, it just grosses me out. Like when Stifler eats that dog poo in American Wedding.
I like
still
that
sticks
scene.
in my head as, like, one of those scenes that I watched, like, it's in his teeth. Just thinking about it.
I like that scene because Sean William Scott is so good in that scene. Like he sells eating that turd.
It's so gross though. But there's a scene in this where John Cena's like he challenges these young men to a chugging contest. And they're like,
Butt
"Oh,
chug.
all right." Turns out it's a butt chugging contest, which already fucking hilarious. And so he just starts butt chugging, but then the cops show up, and it startles him, so all his butt chug fluid flies out and hits the other guy in the face. And I laughed and laughed. It's like it's butt beer.
And the same thing happened with Jack Hyde in 50 Shades Freed and Christian Grey. That's why he hates him.
Yeah, he lost the butt chug contest.
Dumb movie.
The guy's butt chugging and then he's also drinking a beer in the front. He's like, he's locking himself in like a pair of finger cups.
Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. Like,
I'm on board.
yeah, why not? I like the cast. Let's see, I got a couple of movies tomorrow, too. This was the only one that was getting pre-screened tonight. Tomorrow I got Peter Rabbit and,
Have fun. I don't care if it's getting good reviews. That movie looks fucking awful.
but I'm always down for Donald Gleason going way over the top, and it looks like he's doing that in this movie, too.
This is exactly the same as the Ex Machina.
He's in Last Jedi, and he is just chewing scenery with a passion in the film. Just like,
I feel like in the first
you
one, it's kind of
vile... Oh, in the second one, he's like, you vile scum rebels. I'm like, I fucking love this guy.
He's got one of those faces, too, where, like, his features are just slightly too big for his face, which makes for a good actor, and so probably just, like, his mouth was coming out to here.
Yeah, so it's like, I want to see, okay, like, the trailer for Peter Rabbit's got a close-up of his eyes going, you're mine, Rabbit. I'm like, ooh, we're gonna get General Hux again chasing a rabbit.
And then he just fucking eats him.
Then I got the 1517 to Paris, the Eastwood movie.
Okay.
Yeah, so I got that. That's a weird double feature. I got that tomorrow. So, all right. Thanks a bunch, everyone in the chat, for watching. I know this is a pretty highly anticipated one. I can tell by the number count on the people in the chat. So,
Hi, guys.
thanks a million. See ya.
Bye, guys.